Hello everyone and welcome to yet another episode of Shield Classroom. My name is Ram Venkathan and I'm a cybersecurity specialist at ManageEngine. Thank you so much for being here today with me. So today's topic, as you can see on the board in front of you, is Smart Threshold ML-based alerting for precise threat detection. Keyword, alerting, because at the end of the day, for every security analyst, for every SOC analyst, it's all about alerts. They want to know what really went wrong in the network, and for that, they would be configuring alerts. But alerts are aplenty. In fact, a statistic says that there are close to 11,000 alerts that an organization receives on a daily basis. 11,000 alerts. Can you just imagine that? That's quite a big number. So the whole point is, can we do something to make the whole process a little more intelligent? And that is where you have the smart threshold. So the whole point is, you want to try and make these alerts, of which there are close to 11,000 on a given day, we want to make them smart threshold or smart alerts. So this is supposed to be a bulb. We are trying to make it smart. Now, when it comes to alerts, for every security analyst, there are two things that they have to keep in mind. One is the number of events, and the second thing is the time interval. So I'll give you an example. Let's say that you have 5 failed logons, right? So that number 5 right here, that is the number of events. And then you want to look for 5 failed logons within a minute. That 1 minute becomes the time interval. So there are two things, two variables that you need to keep in mind whenever you're configuring a threshold for an alert. In the general case, with a lot of security vendors out there, what a security analyst will need to do is they'll have to do it completely manually. So depending upon their own experience about the network, their own wisdom, they would say that this is the number of events that I want to look for in a particular time period. So they would set it all completely manually. But of course, with the skills shortage of security analysts, there could be multiple different kinds of security analysts with varying levels of experience. This could be a little bit of a problem, right? And what you ideally want to do as a security manager is, if you have a solution that can do the heavy lifting for you. What I mean is, if you can make this entire thing smart. So that is what the smart threshold actually is. With a smart threshold, what happens is the system learns what is normal for a given network, and it learns what is normal for a given user. And then it kind of sets a baseline. And after that training period is done, it is going to look for instances whenever certain events actually go beyond that baseline, that learned baseline. So then an alert gets triggered. So this entire process gets automated. That's what we are doing with Smart Threshold. So this is how it actually works. Take a look at this graph right here. So let's say that your time interval is 15, right? So you want to set a smart threshold where the time interval is 15 minutes. And let's say that you're looking for, okay, so this is the smart interval. For the smart threshold, this is a time interval. You've set it for 15 minutes. Now, what are the number of events to look for? Now, here's the question, right? And that is where the smart threshold is going to help you. This is going to be the time period, the learning time period. And what's going to happen is, it's going to be 15 times 15. Right? So that will be the learning time period. In case this was 10, in case the time period, the time interval that you're looking for was 10, then it will be 10 times 15, in which case you have 150 minutes as the learning time or the initial training phase. And once this 150 minutes gets over, then the system would have learned in that training time period, and then it would start predicting what the baseline should be. And then it would tell you that a particular value would be your threshold. So that's how this actually works. And then going beyond this, let's say there are instances where the smart threshold is actually exceeded. So let's say that there is a particular instance here. There's a particular event that happens right here. It's an outlier, and that will actually become a problem, and an alert will be triggered at that point of time. So that's how the smart threshold actually works. And this is a feature that we have in Log360, ManageEngine Log360. So here are a few use cases where a smart threshold will become very, very useful for a security analyst. In fact, you have 7 different use cases right here. You have ransomware. I'll give you a very, very simple example. You have cases where there are a lot of deletions of files that happen in a short period of time. That is a telltale sign of a ransomware attack. A smart threshold will become very useful in such a case, where the entire process of setting up the alert or the number of events for the alert to get triggered, that it gets automated. You have DDoS attacks, distributed denial of service attacks, where let's say that a whole lot of requests are going into a particular server and that exceeds the baseline. Again, it can be smartly done with the smart threshold. So DDoS attacks is yet another use case. You have application crashes. Another use case, of course, very self-explanatory. A whole lot of application crashes are happening, much more than what is expected. So yet another thing where a security analyst can use the smart threshold. Brute force attacks. I mean, I took this example some time back as well. A lot of log-on failures and then followed by a success. Now, what would be the critical number or the threshold number for the failures? It's smartly done. The smart threshold kicks in as well. Malware activities. There could be cases where a whole lot of registry changes are happening. A very telltale sign of that a malware is taking place. Again, it can be smartly done. You have lateral movement. Now, a good example of lateral movement is when a whole lot of network shares or file shares are, let's say there are accesses are happening or modifications are happening. That could be a telltale case of a lateral movement. C2 attack. Here you could have a whole lot of connection requests on a particular server. That could be indicative of a C2 attack. So these are some of the use cases that a smart threshold can help a security analyst with. Like I said, this is a feature in Log360, as a comprehensive SIEM solution from ManageEngine. And in fact, this feature is part of our Vigil IQ. So Vigil IQ is nothing but anything and everything that uses intelligent, capabilities, using AI and ML, and it also automates, right? So any process which can be automated or it can be done using AI. And what I mean is, it could deal with something like detection, investigation, and response. It covers the entire spectrum of a security analyst workflow. That all comes under Vigil IQ. So yes, that is the smart threshold feature in Log360. Thank you so much for listening to me today, and you all have a great day. Until next time, take care.